Here it is. This book comes out this month. This is my first street photography book. And I thought for a video we could walk around town, take you to a few locations where some of my favourite images were taken, and I'll tell you the story behind the photo. Share the insight, where I was, how I did it, what I thought about the photo, and why I decided to include it in the book. This is like a behind the scenes, real life versus the images. Let's do it. I know, it's really good, isn't it? Really, really good. Well, you'll have to buy a copy, chaps, if you want to see the rest. Wow, look at all them dogs. There was actually one dog image in this book, so. First location is also the first photo in the book, so I thought it'd be appropriate to show you that first. I don't want to show you too many photos, obviously you got to buy the book to see the photos. Sequencing advice, which I got from a few photographers, is the first image in the book should lead the viewer's eye into the rest of the book. So the first image is a girl in a red coat, a guy in a beige coat that matches the poster. And the fact that these two people, the two subjects, walk that way, which leads viewers into the book, was important. For me personally, when I took that image, that was the first image I took in 2022, or it was either late 2021. It was the first image where I considered the possibility of making a book, where I thought, I think that's a good image, possibly good enough to make a book if I ever make one. It wasn't until 2 years later that it actually happened, but I knew that needed to be the first image. It all came together wonderfully, and I'm pleased with it.
Had you noticed the man was wearing beige as well as the woman wearing red?
No, it was definitely the red coat caught my eye. We were both stood there. You were stood there, I was stood here. I think you actually said that poster looks good, there could be something here. And I was like, only if something else happens, like the poster standalone isn't good enough. But the woman in the red coat, I was like, all right, bingo, let's take a photo, see what happens. And then afterwards, I clocked that he was in beige, because obviously beige blends in, you don't notice that as much. So red is definitely the trigger, and then the timing, that works. Just the simple composition, the poster, the people, fantastic. First image in the book. So this book consists of 50 street photographs, candid street photos. I don't know if that needs to be said or not. I know there's lots of different styles of street photography. None of the photos in here are set up. It's all happenstance, right time, right place, that kind of thing. So there's 50 of my favorite images from recent years. 23 or 24 of them are London specifically. This place is where I learned street photography. It's my playground, you could say. And then the rest of the images are Lisbon, Istanbul, Mumbai, Southend, in Essex, Brighton, Cleethorpes. So there's a few different variations of places. Link in the description if you want to buy it. I should probably say that. Next photo I want to show you is a photo that Matt Stewart heavily complimented when he first saw it. And this rather sad looking gentleman in a party hat, how ironic. And I love the fact that no matter what he was going through, he kept his hat on. That's important. One of my favourite images in the book, obviously I could probably say that about all the images, they were chosen for a reason, but this was the 4th of May, the King's coronation. I was just walking down that side of the road. I saw the hat. I saw that he wasn't looking too happy. I thought, that's weird. Across the road, hovered around here for between 5 to 10 seconds, centered, composition's clean, whatever, but obviously the important thing there is the subject and the fact that he doesn't look happy, but he's also wearing a hat, a party hat, which is key information. So really pleased with that photo. The fact that Matt Stewart also really liked it is, you know, cherry on top. Type of things that I like looking for. And you could say this is cliche street photography, but it depends whatever floats your boat. You see this sign with a big red cross through it that says, "Don't feed the pigeons." I would like to get a photo of someone feeding the pigeons next to it. That's the kind of street photography that I get a kick out of. It's just funny, it's ironic. It shouldn't happen, but it does happen. I can't see anyone feeding any pigeons. I think Trafalgar Square used to be pigeonless. They fixed that. And I feel like this year, there's a pigeon problem.
They used to release hawks or falcons to hunt them down.
Yeah, they should release the hawks again, that would be a good photo. That seagull is massive. There is 3 photos in this book taken at Trafalgar Square. I'm here nearly every time I come to London to take photos. It's just a nice space. Everyone's sat around the edges, either falling asleep or just taking a break, so that gives you a story immediately. 2 of the images are standout solo page images where, you know, they're the feature, and then one of the images is on the non-dominant page. So you've got your dominant page in photo books and the non-dominant page, that's how I see it. One of the images complements the other. I don't want to share, I was going to actually show you the photos, but I want to keep it a little bit of a secret. If I really searched through my catalogue of photos. I reckon you could probably say like 5% of all my street photos are taken here. Who knows? I swear these seagulls are on steroids or something. Oh yeah, this sign. This is a good talking point. Let's show you a photo that is fun, because street photography is supposed to be fun, right? There was Morris dancers here at Trafalgar Square earlier on this year, and there was various different groups of Morris dancers wearing different outfits, and the Morris dancers in red and black decided to stand and gather around this sign, which I thought was quite funny. And I was taking multiple photos of them, and then one of them asked what I was doing, and I said, well, I explained myself. I was like, you do realise you guys have come dressed as this sign? And they understood it, they saw the humour in it. And this photo is not, I don't think it's a standout photo in the book, but it represents what I like about street photography, and that's just the small coincidences, funny little details, and it's aesthetically nice on the eyeballs. The blue sky, the red, the black, and the spacing of all the subjects. I think it works as an image. Trafalgar Square is one of my favourite places. I knew I had to include a photo like this. Yeah. So when I came to the conclusion that I'm making a book, it's happening. I started with 150 images. I printed them off small 6x4 postcard size, narrowed that down to 90 or something like that, then made a first draft soft proof, like a soft back copy, sent that to a few people, got their opinions, did like a little bit of a critiquing with some people, then narrowed that 80 or 90 photos down to 50, which is the final version. It's funny, when I put photos side by side originally in the first draft, I thought these two complement each other. But then after a few conversations with people, it makes sense to actually have one photo stand alone with no context, because some of the images are too similar. So you don't want two similar images next to each other, you want one standout image. All of that kind of thought process goes into sequencing, and I learned more about my own work than I thought I would doing this. If I released the first draft, people might have just accepted it, but I know that this is much better. Just 3 months more of work or 4 more months of sequencing just made this so much better than the original that I had. So patience is the name of the game, just like street photography. I've got a croissant. I've got a croissant on the book. Almond croissant specifically. Oh, that's just gonna have to stay there. Oh, I've proper made a boo-boo here. This photo, this billboard is this billboard, and it changes maybe once a year or every 18 months. And this image took a lot of attempts. I tried 28, I tried 35, I tried, I don't know, 200 photos of this spot, probably more. The colour blue is wonderful in this. You've got the three guys, big faces, big hand gestures, and then the little small gentleman walking past, waving his hands in the air. Very lucky I got that. Once again, right time, right place. But I will emphasize the fact that I've been to this spot so many times, because first of all, that looks fantastic. So it's like a great canvas for you to then work off of. So this photo was actually taken at 85mm, and if you've watched the channel before, you know that I have my issues with the 85mm, and I made a video all about that if you want to check it out. So I'm pleased that I used the 85mm, it worked, and I did get a photo for the book. The rest of the images in the book are 28, 35 and 50. But yeah, that one image at this location, 85mm, worked perfectly. I hope one day that my images can be blown up this big, because that's pretty cool. I mean, look at it. Even if you're not taking street photos, it still looks good. It's just a nice spot. Doesn't help that you're filming, does it? Because like, you're bruising the scene. But that makes sense. You've got a big camera and you're pointing at someone else who also is taking photos. So
I am one big bruise.
it does, yeah, it looks odd. That's why street photography with multiple people is sometimes more difficult than street photography on your own, because if there's like 4 of you walking around with a camera, it kind of looks obvious.
It always become more of a social thing for me.
I enjoy being with other people taking photos, but I don't think you get good photos from it, because you're just too busy chatting, you can't get into flow, and everyone else around you knows that there's a bunch of guys with cameras there. So, well, I think actually that's a good point, because I can't say for certain, but 80% of the photos in this book I was on my own, and I think that stands for something. Being social is great, but also getting in the right mindset, you know, being in flow with street photography is difficult. I feel like street photography is one big pursuit of trying. It's one big practice. To practice efficiently, being on your own is helpful, I think. but it is nice to have friends. So it's a balancing act.
I agree.
So when it came to designing the book, I knew I wanted to keep it simple. Part of me wanted to keep it simple because, this might sound weird, but because it's my first venture into the physical world of photography, I didn't want to slap a photo on the front, big and bold. I didn't want it to be too showy. And a few people asked me, like, what photo are you putting on the cover? And it makes sense, like, it's a photo book. You should have a photo on the cover, perhaps. But I looked at some of my favourite books, some of my favourite photo books. They don't necessarily have photos on the cover, so I kept it simple, kept it minimal. Learning to see, that is essentially the process of street photography, right? You're learning to see all the time. It's my first book. This is a showcase of me learning to see. I think that feels quite appropriate, so I'm happy with the name. Silver foiling with gloss black foiling with the word see. A little bit of a visual pun. You get what I'm doing there. Obviously my name, same on the spine as well. I didn't want to go for any bold colours or anything like that, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. The printers did an excellent job. I had sample paper, I had sample sizes. The original size was going to be much smaller than this, and it was going to be square, but when I got a draft copy, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel substantial enough, and I feel like photo books should almost feel like coffee table books as well. So I liked that this is a decent size. Seeing the photos in print, something that everyone should do, whether they make a book to sell or not, just print your work. It's amazing seeing some of these double page spreads look so much better than seeing it on a mobile phone or an iPad or however people consume their photos. So really happy with the design, really happy with the material, really happy with the cover. It's great to have an idea of something 8 months ago and then actually end up as a physical thing in your hand. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it, really. If you'd like to buy a copy of my street photography book, I'll leave a link in the description. It's available on my website. And a big thank you to everyone that pre-ordered it. It really does mean a lot. It's been a long process, but I've thoroughly enjoyed every step of it. So thanks to everyone that has a copy. And if you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description.